Grateful to have Michael Young, who is our loan originator for Universal Financial Mortgage Group, which is our mortgage partner. Michael, I'm going to let you take the floor to tell us about what's happening in lending today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So as far as the rates, since that's always where everyone wants to start, our 30-year fixed still very competitive. We're sitting between 6.25 to 6.5. No points, no lending fees, and the 15-year around like 5.5 to maybe 5.75. That's really where we've been over the past couple of weeks. It doesn't look like there's really going to be any change with that Fed meeting, which we'll kind of get into. And then also the national average for the 30-year today is around 6.76 and the 15's at 5.9. So still with that consistent quarter to even 0.5% below the average market rate. Just to touch on some other things I've been seeing with our buyers that you might come across. The in-house underwriting with the pre-approval and getting offers accepted. So what I did was we revamped our pre-approval letter because obviously it's very competitive. We've put in some, really the strongest language we can with compliance. I worked with a couple other realtors, as far as pre-approval letters they've gotten. And we've started to use it and test it. And, I've seen good progress with that. So I can actually show you what that looks like. 1 second. Let's see here. This should be it. Let's see if that works. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the new pre-approval letter. We call it the Pre-Approval Plus program. So to start on that, I'm always available to talk to listing agents. Honestly, I prefer it. So if there's ever, you're putting in an offer, I like to, speak to them, try and push the offer through and kind of talk about how well they're financed and qualified. As far as this goes, we're, just trying to highlight, different things that might stand out, get the offer accepted and pushed forward. Obviously, if you have other suggestions there, we're always happy to add that in as well. And, try and get these offers accepted with how many that come in. The other big thing that this is paired with is the loan to value property analysis. So this is, our own thing. It's with the increase in the values of the homes and everything really going over listings, as I've been seeing. Listing agents are often, worried that the appraisal is not going to come in. And I always get that question day to day, how are the appraisals? So this is kind of a letter where the value of the appraisal is typically much lower than what they're worried about. So for instance, this is a 710 purchase and the buyer's putting 20% down. The appraisal can come in at 570 or 597, 800, and we'll still be able to do the loan without the buyer bringing any more down payment. The only difference is mortgage insurance, but we've properly qualified them in the application, did the soft credit check. So it's going to go as smooth as, if the appraisal comes in at the 710. That's another feature that we can get for your offers, hopefully push them through. I've seen it work, and we've been testing it. So as we move forward here, you'll see that as well, and hopefully get more offers accepted on some of these listings. Next thing we've seen a little bit, and I'm going to send a blast on Friday about this, but as far as the associations, condo associations in New Jersey, the deductibles for the flood insurance and master insurance policies have been going up. So now the max deductible they can have is 5%, and the deductible per unit is, often, I'd say 1 out of even 5 times, higher than that deductible limit. Essentially, what that means is the condos are non-warrantable until they update their insurance. When they hear that for the first time as an association, typically they put a hard stop on it. We have basically a loan program that's non-warrantable. So we're doing it on like 3 right now that just popped up. The buyer's still going to close, and ultimately, once they update the insurance, we can always refinance down to a lower rate at no cost. Just to kind of make everyone whole and stuff like that. essentially what I'm saying is if you see some of these condo associations, some of these problems pop up on either a listing or you have a buyer putting an offer in on a condo and someone says you can't lend there, call me. We do have programs for that. I'm currently, like I said, we're doing them right now and it's going smooth. So that's a big one. And then as far as let's see here, some other products that I've just seen pop up and common questions would be the home contingency. So a lot of buyers obviously are trying to sell their home, buy a new one, and putting that on their offer is, I guess, not getting accepted. So you have a variety of products there. One of the most popular is our guaranteed backup contract. So that's basically we're partnering with a private bank and they're putting a contract guaranteeing the sale of their current home 120 days after they close on the new one. So it's for someone who's, might not want to sell their house before closing, might want to sell it after, and just wants the convenience of moving, where we can do that. There's, people who still want to sell their house before closing, and that's the plan, but are worried that maybe they won't be able to. So then they're not going to qualify to purchase the next house and don't want to go under contract. So we can remove the home sale contingency from your offer and, still have a smooth closing, go forward. And really all the bank does is they charge an application fee for that. So it's still the same rate, still the same underwriting by us. It's essentially just a way for you to remove the home sale contingency if you find the way or find that's causing you trouble. The other products we have, which come up a lot as far as bridge loans, home equity lines of credit, anything like that, equity loans, cash outs, whatever you need, those are always available as well. Last thing is the seller credits or seller concessions, like buy downs, stuff like that. It's probably not, with the demand in buying the house and how many offers you get, it's probably not there. But if we do see, maybe listings not have so much control, the seller concessions we can always do as well. So those are basically buy down programs where if the rate's at 6.5, you'd be able to offer your listing, let's say at 6%, because we would buy down the rate. With the seller concessions, you also have, 2-1 buy downs where if you basically have a buyer who's, worried that the rate's at 6.5 and doesn't want to move forward, well, we can do 1-year buy down, 2-year buy down. So their first and second year are big savings. So full percent to even 2% below, the 6.5 there. So that right off the bat is going to save them about $600 to, $400 at least a month, depending on the loan size. As far as the last little thing is just the Fed meeting today. It's not very, doesn't look like there's going to be much news. They're going to most likely keep it flat with the 10-year being at the 4.1 to 4.35%. If you want to keep that number in mind, that's really where we're at. I think it's 4.2 today. That's going to keep us right around that 6.5 to 6.25. If we see anything as far as inflation and good reports there, that might, slightly bring us down. If there's any really big news, which no one expects, you're going to see a big rate drop because that's really what it is. It's no one's expecting it. But same thing on the other end. If there's a surprise in the negative where inflation's much worse, then that could affect us as well. But we'll keep you updated on the rate blast there and let you know what happened. But unfortunately, seems like everyone is saying that, they're keeping it flat until they get real news and have a better understanding of where, everything's going. So that's kind of it. I mean, that's the biggest thing as far as the home sale contingencies, HOAs. Having trouble there can help out with both of those and have seen a lot of great stuff. And then as far as getting offers accepted, the property values and loan to property analysis. If you guys want to go over that as well, I'm always available to talk and break it down on a specific basis if you have a different situation.
Awesome, Michael. Would you mind not the sharing away.
Yep.
That way we can see you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. But also one of the things that Michael has done for me recently to try to make my buyers look better, and I know he's done this for other people, is Michael will call the listing agent on your buyer's behalf and kind of walk them through how financially capable they are of closing. I think that makes a big difference. So please don't be afraid to ask Michael to do that. And a number of other, loan officers are doing that too, but it definitely makes you stand out from the crowd when they're looking at 20 different offers. So that's one thing. And then, Michael, can you talk a little bit about the Curb Hero product that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, the Curb Hero is just a digital open house sign. A lot of agents have been asking for it, and as far as different ways to do it. So it's funded by the lender, UFMG, but essentially the app is really yours. It's tailored to you. If you Google it, it'll be the first one to pop up. It is just a way to obviously signing in on a pen and paper. I guess the complaint, I'm not a realtor, but a lot of people scribble and, don't always want to put the right phone number. This has better feedback, where you're getting more quality information. Everything's obviously digital, so it's clear. And it creates your own portal where all the leads are put on an Excel sheet with all the information that you'd want. So you can pick up to 3 questions. You can customize it yourself. It's just essentially a digital sign-in sheet for you to kind of track leads. And then that's also one nice feature that I've seen as far as people maybe hosting for other people's open houses. You can do Curb Hero as well. Once again, it's your app. It's for realtors. It's not for lenders. But it is a way where, you can put on a question on Curb Hero, which I've seen works well, is, are you working with an agent? Have you signed a buyer agency agreement? I've seen a few that, more than a few, about a quarter of them come in and, no agent or, not putting anything there. That's another good way to get a lead for maybe a buyer and kind of push that. And then kind of the whole joint venture and working with you guys that's what I'm doing on my end. So we have good highlights of, referring those back to the agents. Because obviously if we can, get you to be the agent and refer you back and have you show them, houses, that's what we want to do. So, but yeah, essentially it is just an open house sign-in, which tracks leads easier and is a little bit cleaner. We got some iPads, so if you need those, you can go by one of the offices, give me a call, or the admins will set you up. And there's also the QR code function as well, where we've seen a lot of agents like that, where you put it on the door, the buyers come in, scan the QR code, and sign in that way. But yeah, essentially it's as simple as can be. Once people sign in, their information and the questions they answer goes right onto your lead list, and then you can divide those out how you want or follow up with them and go from there.
So I used it over the weekend at a property in North Haledon where we had over 30 groups of people through on Saturday and over 30 groups of people through on Sunday. And it really helped to manage the crowd and also making sure that you get all of the right information because they actually do have to type in their name and phone number and email address. So pretty much everybody put in the correct information. I did have 2 people bounce back, but I think we can figure it out maybe from their phone number, but just letting them know that there was highest and best. I did send out a note. So. And it keeps it all organized. Then you can just take all of those names. You download them as a CSV file and you can upload them right into your Trivis database so that you can sign them up for drip campaigns. It's a great way to capture leads and then keep them in flow with you.
Yep.
So Michael, we have a question from Marie Janasa on 5.5, the 15, Uh, a
Uh,
15-year rate, is there any points charged?
there's not, no. I mean, it's, more dependent on credit score there. So right now, the highest level of credit score is 780 plus. Honestly, 760 might even get it too, depending on the down payment. But that's with no points, no lender fee. So 1 point's going to get you always about a quarter below our no point rate that I was mentioning before. So the 30-year, for instance, at 6.25, 1 point gets you down to 6.
Great. All right. Any other questions for Michael this morning?
So Sarah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's related to Michael's presentation as well. Thank you, Michael. But did you get what was the feedback from the consumers as did you find them forthcoming and, okay, this is how I'm going to sign in?
Oh,
They were
yeah,
fine with it?
they were completely fine with it. I run an open house a little bit differently than other people because I like to control the open house and the flow of people through the house. I'm very, very cautious because I do not, ultimately we're liable for everybody who walks in that house. So I do not allow anybody to go through my open houses without being accompanied by a realtor. So I played bouncer because, I give away my buyer leads to the agents who are co-hosting with me. So I let them take them through. I played bouncer. They came in, they had to sign in right there. It works best when there's Wi-Fi. So I did connect to the Wi-Fi of my homeowner. And this is a homeowner that I sold them their house 7 years ago, and I've been working with them for over 10 years. So they obviously trusted me with their Wi-Fi code, had it all set up right there when they walked in. It was on my laptop so that other people could use the iPads and their Fire tablets that Michael provided for our offices. But there was no pushback at all, none.
I'm glad to hear that. And I think that's how people are signing into these open houses. And you run an open house much the same way I do. Multiple agents allow us to engage with the consumer and build a relationship and some trust.
Absolutely. Rather than just letting them go through aimlessly and not knowing who's walking through somebody else's home. And you never know if they put something in their pocket or break something. It's very hard to monitor if you just let them walk through.
So
That's
good morning. Good morning, Sarah. It's Marie. So how do you control them? Do you take them one by one? Because
one by one, Marie. Yep, absolutely.
how many people were handling your open house? Because we had in my previous listing, we had about 100 people. It was a vacant house, but I
Right.
understand if it's furnished.
Yeah, this is furnished.
So how every agent
Total, Marie.
Yes.
There were 3 total. So myself at the door, and then I had 2 agents who were alternating the buyers. So each, as they came back, they would take another group through and.
Oh, you make them wait then. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Oh, all right. So you won't just let them stroll through the house. So
No.
question, Michael, thank you. Good morning for your information. On the points, so you said they still could buy down with if they pay 1% on the rates that you're giving them, right? Is that correct?
Yep, absolutely. And it's right now, and that's something I talk to your buyers about a lot, because typically when you have an offer accepted, you want to shop for the best mortgage rate, and honestly, you should. And that's one thing that I see on other loan estimates, and it's not a problem. It's just how the industry is. Like technically, I could say my 15 years at 5.25. Ultimately, when you get a loan estimate, then there's the point on it, and the buyer doesn't know. So that's something we go over and kind of look at the break-even points. Most likely right now, and what's most common and kind of what I almost suggest, but it's up to the buyer, is that point is probably not the best. It's better to save right now because the break-even point between what you'd pay versus paying 1% of the loan extra at closing, is going to shake out to about 5 years. No one knows where the market's going, but more than likely we're going to refinance, they'll sell the home, something like that within the next 5 years, hopefully, within the next 1 year here. But that's something we go over, and you can always buy points. So to answer your question, yes, you could even buy 2 points, 3 points. That's probably where we cap it.
Now, it depends how long they're staying in the house. I understand that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So Alex asked, is the 2% tax on homes sold over $1 million, is that law now? No, that's being proposed in the new budget. So that's why we need to support RPAC to make sure that that does not become law. Because that would be on top of paying $1 million plus, and that, you're paying $1 million for a complete fixer right now. And then you have to pay $20,000 just in taxes, just for the privilege of buying the home. So please make sure you support RPAC so that that does not become law.
Plus mansion tax.
Well, that is the mansion tax. They're proposing to raise.
That's what you're talking about. Then they're
Yes,
increasing
mansion.
it to 2%. Oh, well.
Yes. Mhm. And then 3% above $3 million. All right. Any other questions?
Yes, if anybody knows of anything coming on in Verona, Michael jumped right in. I really appreciate his quick response to highly qualified buyers. And we did craft a strong offer, 90,000 over, but we didn't crack the top 5. So if anybody has something in Verona or surrounding towns, please reach out to me. Michael has these buyers all ready to go.
Awesome. And then I just sent out something. I have a single professional woman who is looking for a room to share. She's a delightful human being who could use an inexpensive place to live. So if anybody knows of anybody, I did get 1 lead this morning, or 2 leads this morning. So I'm going to follow up with those, but I do want to be able to help her if anybody knows of anybody. All right, anything else? Any questions for Michael? I know we kind of went off topic a little bit, Michael, but thank you. All right,
Thank
everybody have a great day. The In the Know with all of the updates is in your inbox. It's also on Tribus that has all the updates for the company, so please check that out. All right, everybody, thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, Michael.